Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show. Yay, we finally made it. And the Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. Your largest supplier of rock salt in the New York City tri-state area and beyond at the lowest prices around. Pelledo, mag, ice, pellets, and flakes, all the great snow and ice melt products out there, plus anything else you need to get you through this upcoming winter. And the telephone number is 631-756-1125. And the website is omnitruevalue.com. Wholesale holiday lighting by Giannini they're your complete holiday lighting specialist. Your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs, whether you are decorating your home for the holidays or this is your business. They have plenty in stock, whether it's snowmen, countdown clocks, penguins, Santa, more snowmen, wreaths, garland, Christmas balls, Christmas lights, and elves. Just get in touch with them. They are at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, New York. Their telephone number is 631-957-5106, and the website there is liholidaylighting.com. All right, so let's see. Mr. Rayo is in Santiago, Chile at the moment, and he reached out to me today saying that he. Oh, there he is. Hang on a second. Oh, it's Mrs. Rayo. So let's see what this has to offer us here. This surprise. There you go.
Hello.
In Santiago, Chile. Pampara. Yes. In the morning, you put on your clothes, and then at night, you say adios.
I wish I was saying adios right now.
You know, Joe, your audio is fabulous. It really is.
Really? I'm not even wearing my headphone tonight.
Oh, very good. So,
you're the apple of my eye.
Yes. Hi, Mrs. Rayo.
Doesn't she look like Lucy when she sticks her head out of the curtain at the end of that bit?
Yes. I also would say that if one more spark out of that hair dryer, and she would have a permanent.
Oh God, Joe, all kinds of stuff, and it continues tonight. We thought that we would have to isolate in our room for dinner, and somebody kind of forgot to tell us that all the other passengers, all the English-speaking passengers, are downstairs in a lovely dining room, having eating and having fun, and we're stuck up here. And now they just told us that we have to put our luggage out. It's kind of like being on a cruise. We have to put our luggage outside our room tonight by 10 o'clock so that they'll be able to bring it to the ship tomorrow morning, or bring it at least to the plane first.
Right. Minus a wheel, by the way.
Yeah, minus
the wheel.
American Airlines will hear that when we come back, when we make the attempt to come back to civilization, also known as America, on December 14th. I'm going to take a little stopover at the American Airlines desk at Santiago Airport and tell them about that. Because
I would also, I know you're good at this. This is where sometimes doing things the old-fashioned way, which is putting it in writing and in a letter.
Showing a picture. Yeah.
Using cursive. Okay. Using cursive. And you hope you get somebody under the age of 30 so that they'll be tortured by it as they try to figure out every word. But, those do get read. Those definitely do get read. And CC the chairman and CEO of American Airlines. That would probably be a good thing to do. So so you've had quite a wild adventure. Your wife nearly got electrocuted with the hairdryer.
I mean, I'm in here and I hear her in the bathroom, and all of a sudden I hear only much louder, and she's like, "Oh my God, "Oh my God!" I said, "What the hell happened?" You know. Then I start seeing smoke emitting out of the door of the bathroom. I had to wait downstairs 10 minutes. I had the hair dryer in my hand to tell the concierge. I said, this just happened to my wife. You know, it popped, it sparked, it smoked, and he's looking at me like with a face like, oh, I am sorry. He said, would you like to have a new one? I said, yeah, one that doesn't go snap and pop.
Right. No, I don't want a new one. Just get some duct tape and rewire it by hand, and I'll use it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
God. So you
I'm
had
gonna
your
watch.
you
I'm
had
gonna
your
watch. Believe it or not, on the internet, we were watching before New York television. We were watching Channel 2 News, and well, heard about Max Scherzer. I'm never going to be able to get that name right.
Max who?
Anyway, this big pitcher that is making multi-billions of dollars now off the Mets. He just signed a contract, and I watched Lonnie do the weather, and just kept in touch with what's going on back up your way. Well, not your way, you're in Georgia, but back in the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Correct. Correct. So would you like to hear about my little adventure?
Yes.
Yeah, so my little adventure, of course, actually, just a refresh, has actually been going on for the better part of the last 4 weeks. I started having some stomach issues back at the beginning of November. It started about an hour after I had stopped at an Arby's driving to Mississippi to go see my mother. So it really is a series of incidents where the clues take you everywhere but where you should be looking all along. And that's what has made this so horribly frustrating. So I had these stomach issues. I blamed it on the fast food that I ate because I didn't have any choice to eat something, and I hardly ever eat fast food because I always know it bothers me, and this one did. Well,
sorry about that. I forgot that I'm not on my headphones.
Right. So anyway, yeah, you're forced to listen to my story. So anyhow, the so that sort of rolled on. Then I get ear congestion and congestion in my head. So I'm thinking I'm getting a head cold, and I'm like that for a bunch of days. My stomach is still misbehaving, and then the head cold part of it blossoms out. I get a fever. I start to have diarrhea, and this carries us over the weekend going into Thanksgiving week. Anyhow, the fever doesn't go away. The diarrhea stops. I went to the clinic here in town on the day before Thanksgiving. The labs were all closed, so I basically just could take the test that they had, which was the COVID test. I had taken my own COVID test. I went and bought 2 COVID tests last Sunday at Walmart. The PCR test, the Abbott lab test, and I tested negative. So when I went to the lab, they tested me for flu. They tested me for mono. They looked at my ears. They said I had some fluid in my ears, so maybe I had a little bit of an ear infection, and on it goes. Nowhere through all of this, Joe, did I have any kind of belly pain. Nothing. Okay, absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, we get to Thursday and Friday, the same thing. My fever, I get a fever. It spikes up in the evening time. It would go to 102. I wake up in the morning, it's down to 98. Then it would spike back up, and nothing changed. Finally, Saturday, I could not take it anymore. It's like, I can't. I don't want to wait till Monday because I had an appointment on Monday to get some blood work done. So I took myself off. I went off to the Blairsville, the Union County Hospital here, I was going to make a joke about having to go to Pixley to the General Hospital, but I honestly, the hospital here was terrific. So went to the emergency room, told them the whole story. They didn't want to retest me for COVID. I asked them to retest me for COVID because I just wanted to be sure. Uh, After a week, you hear all these, all through the whole COVID episode, Joe, the incredible amount of misinformation that was put out there by irresponsible people, and then it stays in your head. So I'm thinking, okay, I tested negative a week ago. Maybe I'll test positive for now. So I just insisted to them, and I said, look, just test me for COVID and test me for flu again. Let's just rule it out completely. Well, they came back negative. Then the nurse says to me, your my blood work comes back. The nurse says, your white blood cell count is high. I think I want to do a CT scan on your belly. And I said, okay, but to check, why? She says, maybe I think you have I think you have appendicitis. And I said, really? I mean, I said, I have absolutely no belly pain, nothing down there. Sure enough, they did the scan, and my appendix was 3 times the normal size and about ready to blow. So they admitted me. I had surgery yesterday morning. It was it took 10 minutes. You're done. There's no Tom Contino is worried about me coughing my stitches apart. There's no stitches. They basically use a bonding agent like Gorilla Glue to yeah. I mean, they use like a bonding agent, so there's nothing to worry about here. Anyway, that was my problem, and now, of course, I have about a 2 to 3 week recovery period because my insides are all a mess, and my whole body chemistry is out of line. So, but I'm not spiking fevers anymore at night. But it was quite an interesting ordeal. And the hospital here was terrific. It's the town I live in. The population is like 800 people. I had a private room, and if everybody in this town were to get sick at the same time, each of them would have a room for all their own. So, and the they were really very, very good. I can't say enough good things about Union County General Hospital, Union County Hospital, and I didn't even have to go to Pixley. So,
well, I have to tell you that the picture that you posted on your Facebook page when you were in the hospital, I looked at that and I said, I can't possibly use this picture. I had to find something much nicer. And so I found a picture in my archives of you and I when we were at FiOS One News against a beautiful silvery background, a silvery curtain background. I think it was during one of their holiday parties. And I said, I want everybody to remember Joe that way.
In case I left the earth.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I got you.
We're very happy though that you're back.
Yes.
And here we are.
Yeah.
And here we are. Tom Contino asked if I'm on the ship yet. No, I'm in. The first trek of this journey was to fly last night from JFK Airport to Santiago. It was about 9.5 hours. Joe, I got to tell you, I mean, we were over Central America and Panama, and it was almost as if some invisible giant had grabbed onto the wing of this plane. This was a Boeing 777 jet, and was like shaking it back and forth. And then we hit clear air turbulence. And Renata says I'm exaggerating, but we took a sudden drop. I almost ended up getting out of my seat like this. People go, woo! I mean, it's like, holy mackerel. I mean, you say to yourself, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I would that would not play well with, that would not sit well with me. A situation like that. No, it just wouldn't. I don't do roller coasters, so I'm the idea of dropping 100 feet or whatever it was, in an instant is not something I would, I would relish.
Well, right now we're at the hotel in Santiago, Chile, and we have to get up literally at the break of dawn tomorrow. We were just told that we have to be downstairs in the lobby at 4:30, where the group will gather, and then we will get on a bus that'll take us back to Santiago Airport. And God, please help us. Don't, Joe. If I had $1 for every time that I had to show either my passport or my certificate of authenticity that yes, we did get the shots, or my PCR report that yes, I have been tested for COVID. It was, this and that. Take it out. Oh, you have to take it out again. Just.
No,
But
I'm sure.
tomorrow,
I'm sure it can be frustrating.
and the lines, Joe, the lines, especially at JFK last night. I said to myself, this is almost like I'm waiting online at Disney World to go on a ride. It was crazy. It was just crazy. And as you mentioned, when we arrived in Santiago, after innumerable, interviews and showing the passport and the documents and this and that, then we finally found we didn't even get the privilege of taking our. It took so long that by the time we got to, that caravel or that carousel where your suitcase and luggage, takes the ride. We were there so long that somebody just arbitrarily took our luggage and already took it off the carousel. So I had to wade through all of this luggage to find ours. And that's when we made the discovery that one of them, the one that carries the most, about 43 pounds worth of stuff, has a broken wheel. So now I have to semi-drag that thing halfway across the airport. But we're in the hotel now. We're leaving tomorrow morning to go back to the airport. We're going to take another trip, 3.5 hours to Punta Arenas, which is at the very bottom of South America, in the Strait of Magellan, if you will. That's where our ship will be. And then at 2:00 tomorrow afternoon, Chile time, that'll be noontime your time, Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
We set sail for the Antarctic continent.
Okay.
And there we go.
So when you fly back, so you're gonna go on the rowboat. You're gonna go to Antarctica. Then you're gonna come back on the rowboat, and then you're gonna get on the plane back in Port Arenas. Arenas, is that what you said?
Punta Arenas. But now
Right.
this time it's going to be different for us. We'll fly from Punta Arenas back to Santiago, and
Right.
then we're pretty much on our own because the shipping line, the name of the shipping company is Ponant. They're based in France. They have made all of the reservations and everything for us. But once we're up back in Santiago, I'm not gonna. They already made the flight for back to the United States, but we're pretty much going to be on our own then because we're going to take. We cannot get we could not get a nonstop flight back to the United States.
Right. So you have to wait. You have to wait for the next flight.
We're going to be in Santiago for about 5 or 6 hours. Then we're going to get on an overnight flight. It'll take us to Miami. We'll get into Miami at 5:30 in the morning on the 15th of December. We'll be there for a couple hours, and then we'll get on another flight. I think it's a Delta flight from Miami up to JFK, and hopefully early in the afternoon of December 15th, we will be home.
Okay.
It already can't come soon enough for me, but we'll.
All right. Let me acknowledge everybody on the chat board. I know that I thought we were going to have a show on Sunday, not knowing that I was going to the hospital. So what happened was I wound up. I set the show up on Saturday to open the chat board up early. And then once I got to the hospital, I was stuck there because I didn't take anything with me. Literally didn't take anything with me. So the chat board pretty much stayed open all through the day yesterday, even though the show obviously didn't come on the air. So that's, I just wanted to explain what happened for those of you who came on and found that there was no show. It was because I was, I just come out of surgery, which I did not expect to have been happening Sunday morning. Let's acknowledge a lot of super chat hits tonight. People hitting the super chat tip jar, starting with David Fuller. Bill Fisher, I haven't seen you in a while, Bill. Yes, thank you. So glad you seem to be feeling. I am actually feeling better. The surgery made a huge difference, by the way. It really did. It's just going to take a while for me to just kind of get back to 100%. William Uber, thank you for hitting super chat. Michael McGuire hitting a super chat tonight. He's glad that I'm recovering, and safe travels for you and Mrs. Rayo. Chuck Cardillo hitting super chat as well. The chairman, Scott Briller, hitting a super chat saying the best duo in meteorology is back. Thankfully, there wasn't, excuse me, a whole lot of weather that went on. Although there was some light snow that fell Saturday night into Sunday morning around around parts from eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England, including Long Island, including the Hudson Valley lower. I did see our old colleague Brian Fitzgerald putting up some pictures from Dutchess County. He had a little bit of nice snow cover there.
Didn't I tell you, Joe, that the first time it was going to snow to any degree was going to be the day that I left? And
yes.
Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning, I look out the window, I said, the deck is covered. What the heck is this all about? And now the big question is, what's going to happen when we try to return on December 15th? I hope we're not going to have any. But from what I was able to see on the maps, a lot of systems, like 2 or 3 systems between now and the 15th, mostly frontal systems that will be coming in. And if it starts to snow, it looks like it's going to change very quickly over to rain, because out ahead of those fronts, those winds are going to kick over into a southerly direction.
Yeah,
and bring some milder air.
Yeah, it's kind of it's been very interesting over the last week. The GFS and the European in the longer range have been going in kind of completely opposite directions. So the GFS keeps wanting to drop a trough in the western part of the United States and having ridging in the eastern part of the U.S. and there's no blocking anymore. The European, on the other hand, has been almost the reverse. There have been on almost every run, if you look out from, say, 192 hours on, the models are 180 degrees opposite each other. So I'm kind of having a bit of a difficult time trying to grasp, which one, what's going on. And I've been reading a few things from some of the longer range folks. They're talking about blocking developing in the Ural Mountains in Scandinavia. Might be a factor toward the middle and the latter part of the month. As 100 other things are happening too. I'm literally confused about the long range, but I agree with you in that the flow remains relatively fast. The systems that are working across the U.S. this week are weak, and then with general progression, it's hard to see how you're going to be able. It's hard to see how you're not going to be able to take lows that go up to the west and head up and head up either the west side of the Appalachians and then go up, western New York and northern New England.
I just saw a note from my brother-in-law who's watching the show, John Mecklow, who is the older of Renata's 2 brothers. And she said, isn't it technology great? Here's Joe in Chile, the other Joe's in Long Island. Joe used to, John used to watch you when you were on News 12 Long Island, Joe, back in the day. I guess he still thinks that you're on Long Island, but we'll tell John that you're not there anymore. You're in northern Georgia.
Yes.
And you're still using Uncle Billy's phone service until they hook you up to Starlink, I guess.
Exactly. By the way, who is coming to News 12 is our Addison Green. I don't know if you saw that. But
I didn't.
Yes, Addison is going to be joining the News 12 networks. I do not know in what capacity. I do know it probably means that he'll never come on our show again.
Ever since I left, all these people have suddenly joined News 12. Craig Allen has been periodically filling in there. Of course, we have our dear friend Archbishop Fitzgerald, and now Addison. So Addison is leaving the good life of Houston, Texas, and coming northbound to News 12. That's amazing.
Yes.
I hope he's ready. I hope he's ready to get his hands dirty, because from what I hear, Joe, ever since I left about 5 years ago and the new management took over, they more or less have tripled the workload for the meteorologists.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Right. It's the old line from Duck Soup. Your Excellency, the workers are complaining about are demanding shorter hours. And Groucho Marx says, okay, we'll start by cutting their lunch hour down to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
And that's exactly the kind of world that they live in. Made Ghost hits the super chat tip jar tonight. Thank you, Made Ghost. Most appreciated. Let's just, you know what? Let me real quick, because I know you're tired and I'm tired. It's going to take a couple of weeks for me to recover. You're obviously you have you have to get to bed because you've got some flights. So let's just really quick. I'm going to really quick run through some maps here. So first off, on the U.S. satellite, all the action is going on right along the northern tier, folks. So you got one system that's offshore. You can see the clouds kind of streaming northward between Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. Here's another weak system in the Great Lakes. Here's another one. And now moving out of the northern Rockies into the northern plains, and here comes another one that's coming into the Pacific Northwest. Excuse me. That pretty much leaves the entire southern part of the United States, by the way, very dry and very nice. I may not see a drop of rain here for at least a week. And speaking of precip on the radar, there's a little bit of activity off the coast. We'll give this a quick refresh. Earlier today, there were actually a few snow and rain showers in and around New York City and offshore, but right now it's quiet. But you can see what's happening here around the shores of Lake Ontario, south into south of the, I'm sorry, the south-facing shores of Lake Ontario, so down around Syracuse and between Rochester and between, boy, I'm losing it. I'm sorry. Rochester at the center, Syracuse on the one end is dry, Buffalo on the other end is dry. Meanwhile, we've got snow showers running from northern Wisconsin southeastward through Michigan and into Ohio. And here we also have back through Montana, we've got some precipitation with some snow and rain showers going on there with yet another disturbance that is moving on to the east. And here's WPC, by the way, with their rainfall, their total liquid forecast for the next 7 days. And now we get into through Monday evening of next week. So now we're seeing a half to 3/4 of an inch, and that's going to be with a weather system that will start its approach next Monday. That'll be the first really robust system that we'll see, because the ones this week are all very, very weak. And precip down through the southeast is also, much of this is all going to come probably during the early part of next week, when that low heads up toward the Ohio Valley and then maybe up into western New York. Much of the plains dry, the southwest dry, some heavy rains up into the Pacific Northwest, and also a little bit of heavy rain along the Louisiana Gulf Coast. And that's just about it. Teleconnections, folks, are not good. The NAO is kind of doing a zigzag around the neutral line. It's going to go negative around the 2nd and 3rd of December, and then all the members pretty much go positive. And this is why I'm thinking that the system for early next week is definitely going to be one that will track to the west. And not helping the cause is the fact that the PNA, the Pacific North America Index, which is positive right at the moment, is going negative around December 1st and 2nd. And most of the members, not all of them, but most of the members stay negative. And some of them actually get more than 2 standard deviations negative by the time we get to, say, December 8th, December 9th. So it really is not the kind of pattern that a winter weather lover for the Northeast will fall in love with, because of the fact that you don't have cold air kind of being locked in. It's all transitory. we are getting cold air masses coming down, but there's nothing really to hold on to them. So these weak disturbances, we've got one coming through tomorrow, mostly falls apart. Then Wednesday night, a bit of a warm front goes by. Thursday looks like a very warm day relative to the last few. We'll see temperatures up into the 50s. Another cold front comes through on early Friday. Windy and colder for Friday. Saturday looks dry. Another frontal boundary sets up to the south, and now you can see that, at least from the GFS standpoint, you got a low in southern Illinois. It moves up to Erie, Pennsylvania. By the time we get to Monday morning, warm front has already pushed all the way up into central New England. I don't know if the model's rushing this or not. It may be a little bit too fast. We'll see. But you see what happens here, folks. If you've got a negative Pacific North America index and an NAO that's going positive, you can't really track a low underneath us. It's going to want to go up the west side of the Appalachians and then head on out toward the Northeast. So I don't know. I know there's people out there talking about all sorts of stuff. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. Not from what I'm looking at.
Well, Joe, it's been great doing the show with you tonight from way down here. The sun just set, by the way, about I don't know, about a half an hour ago, and they're on double daylight time here. They're on chilly summertime. That they really should not be. They're 3 hours behind Greenwich Mean Time. They should be a lot closer to 4 hours, or even the last time we were here, Renata and I were in Chile in 1986 for Halley's Comet, and they were on the same time zone that New York was on. So I don't know why they're on this crazy summertime pattern where they're 2 hours ahead of New York. But the sun just set a little while ago. Somebody asked how's the weather down here. We had a beautiful sunny day today. Temperature got up to about 80 degrees. It's very strange, in New York or in the Northern Hemisphere, you're all accustomed to seeing the sun rise at this time of the year out of the east, southeast, peak in the south, and then set in the west, southwest, moving basically from left to right. From where we are, it's the opposite. We see the sun rise in the east, southeast, but it peaks in the north and then sets in the west. So it's moving across the sky from right to left, backwards. And if we were up late enough tonight, and maybe we'll see this, because again, we have to be up early tomorrow morning. When we see the moon is upside down. And, the man in the moon is upside down. Everything is upside down here. It's crazy.
It's a whole new world.
I'm not sure whether or not tomorrow I'll be able to do anything with you and the show. And in fact, then we go through the Drake Passage Wednesday into Thursday. So I think what I would best do is, if I can, over the next couple of days, I will email you and give you an idea as to whether or not we could do a show together either tomorrow night, Wednesday, or Thursday. I'd like to do one Thursday night. That would be the night. I'd like to do one Friday night, the night before the eclipse. And by the way, on the morning of the eclipse, we will be in the Weddell Sea in Antarctica. Sunrise is at 1:30 in the morning, and the eclipse will hit totality at just after 4 a.m. Antarctica Standard Time. So it's going to be an interesting next few days coming up, and we want to keep everybody abreast of what's going on. So I'll do my best to post stuff on Facebook, and I'll be best to try and see if we could do a show internet conditions.
And my schedule is wide open, Joe. So if your window of opportunity is in the middle of the day, or in the late afternoon, or in the morning, you just let me know, because I can go on anytime. So we'll make it work. Let me just quickly acknowledge additional folks hitting the super chat tip jar tonight. Mark G, thank you so much. And I am on the mend, slowly but surely. Ken Musillo hitting the super chat tip jar. Johnny Quest hits the super chat tip jar. Jason Barry also saying surgery nor Antarctica will keep the Joes from doing weather. Get well soon and safe travels. Thank you very much for that. Tom Contino asks me, if I'm worried about, am I worried about the almanac forecasts being in trouble? No, because I don't read the almanac, nor do I read their forecasts. So I really don't care what the almanac forecasts are. So that pretty much sums up my never to be humble opinion.
And then before I sign off, because we have to get all of our luggage out by 10 o'clock Chile time, which is in about 20 minutes. But Tom Contino asked a good question. Why is it that from here, the sun peaks in the north and not in the south as it is in New York? And if you think about it, Tom, we're approaching the solstice in another couple of more weeks, 2-3 weeks. The sun at the Tropic of Capricorn, 23.5 degrees south latitude. So if you're there at 23.5 degrees south latitude on the first day of summer here in the southern hemisphere, the sun is directly overhead. But here in Chile, here in Santiago, we're at 31.5 degrees south latitude. So in order for us to face the sun or see where the sun is at noontime, we don't look south. We have to look to the north because the sun is peaking to our north. And that's why it does that. And that's why it seems to move across the sky backwards, or contrary to what we see where we live, from right to left instead of from left to right. And that is the answer. And Joe, I'm going to take my leave. And
well, before you do, your sister's on the chat board, so you might want to say hello to her.
My sister's on the chat board?
Yeah, Lisa's on the chat board.
Really? Oh, there she is. Hi, bro. Nice to see you. All right. Well, Lily, Sissy, thanks for coming on tonight, making a guest appearance on the on Joe and Joe on the chat board.
All right, and you know what, folks, I'm gonna call it a night too, because I'm still recovering from yesterday, and it's gonna take me a while to get my dithers together. So I want to hit the bed early. Paul Roman hitting the super chat tip jar. Thank you, Paul. Most appreciated. So that's it. So Joe's going to let me know about. You can go ahead and sign off, Joe. I'll say goodnight to everybody.
Say goodnight.
Hi, Mrs. Rayo.
Night. Okay. Good night, everyone, and we'll see you when we see you. Probably on the ship.
Great. Safe travels. So in the meantime, folks, as you know, Joe has discussed. So when he knows when he's able to come on, I will. I'll open up a. I'll set up a live stream and open up the chat window and put a show time on there. But we're going to be kind of flexible over the next several days or more while this is all going on. So thanks, by the way, a number of you, I've been playing catch up with messages either on Patreon or on Facebook or on YouTube. I haven't gotten around to the YouTube ones yet, but I'm trying to get to everyone expressing the kind and wishes and for my recovery. I really do appreciate it. And, it's nice to know that I got folks out there who are paying attention to the fact that my body was falling apart. So thank you very much. It does make me feel a lot better, and it makes getting better a whole lot easier, knowing I have folks supporting me behind me. So we'll see you tomorrow. And in the meantime, everybody stay safe. Have a nice evening. And fingers crossed for Mr. Rayo that he doesn't have any more travel nightmares. Night, everybody.